So the official trailer for the Superman movie released a few days ago, and I yapped about Ironheart, so I kind of want to talk about this. The Superman movie seems like it's going to be really good, and as you guys may know, I'm way more into Marvel than I am DC, but I am a really, really big fan of James Gunn, so I wanted to give my honest opinion about how the movie looks and how I think the story may go, but the whole prediction thing is going to be a little shot in the dark, so I'm just going to have fun with it, so don't take that too seriously when we do get to that part. Now, I do want to start this off by saying a Superman film being made by James Gunn in itself is a fantastic thing. And let me explain. First off, James Gunn is really, really detail-oriented when it comes to the accuracy of the characters from the comic books, new and old, and there's plenty of this in the trailer. First example I see in the trailer is when Lois Lane is interviewing him as Superman and things get a little tense between the two of them, it kind of defends this whole narrative that Superman is like this morally perfect kind of hero, where he doesn't pick a side of the war as much as he just ends it all together. And he's not even quite defending himself as much as he's defending the fact that he had to defend a life in danger. He's protecting the people, not so much as his own image. This also shows how serious the movie's gonna be. All too often we do get superhero movies that have this clammy comedy in between every serious thing that takes place. That's exactly why Thor: Love and Thunder was one of the worst movies in my opinion, because it had such a great villain and story, and they just threw all the shitty comedy in between all of it. And while James Gunn does usually add some tasteful comedy in it, for the most part, this is going to be a really good story with a whole lot of depth. And there's also a bit of realism to this, because honestly, this kind of gives me Civil War vibes, where it's kind of like the government wanting to step in on a superhero. If you really think about it, obviously our government, if there was a being any higher than we are, they're probably going to try and control it in some way if they can. Government shitty as is, and this movie has some realism to it where it's relatable, especially relatable for the times. It also kind of grounds Superman in my mind. Speaking of making something a little bit more relatable, this makes the character a little bit more relatable for me at least. It kind of shows that he has emotion about the good that he does. He's not just a save the day and walk away kind of hero. He is a lot more human in my eyes because he has empathy towards these things, and he understands that maybe not everyone would understand why he did what he did, but he's trying to save as many lives as he can when he does make these decisions, whether they be foreign lives or domestic lives. On a complete different note, another thing about James Gunn directing this movie has me so excited is his use of the angles. I feel like his use of angles in all his movies is going to be so amazing to be in a Superman film. Anytime I've seen something like Guardians of the Galaxy where he's capturing something flying, there's just something special about it to me. Like the scene of Superman flying up into the air and the camera just kind of falls behind him and then slingshots up around him. Kind of gives you that insight of how fast he really is moving. Kind of lags behind and you get to see just a shot from the ground of what it would look like if you were standing there. And then to keep the movie aspect to it, it shoots up to get what he's seeing. That's something that James Gunn commonly does, where I feel like I'm looking at it with my own eyes. It feels like I'm watching it as a bystander. Other angles like Superman fighting in the air, flying through tight corridors, and the way he tracks objects, this kind of gives me Guardians of the Galaxy vibes where, you know, when they're flying through certain things and it's kind of a tight shot where you'll kind of just see it locked onto the ship but not quite perfectly tracing it, where it's not super shaky. You get to see the actual movements of the ship and how fast they're moving. It gives you a better detail of the actual speed of which everything is happening. Like when the engineer gets absolutely clotheslined by Crypto. It's really eye-catching to me because it starts like I'm looking at it, like I'm standing there watching, and then it just pans over and follows the dog. And I feel like a lot of the combat in this movie will be that. And that's another part of this movie I'm really excited to see. As someone who doesn't know DC really well, all these characters kind of catch my eye. Like Guy Gardner, the engineer, Mr. Terrific, they stand out most in my opinion. Guy Gardner, I mean, he has that loud-ass hairdo. I mean, he's going to stand out as is. But the engineer is ridiculously strong and has one of the cooler abilities I've ever seen in a superhero movie. The whole nanotech thing is always just something to mess around with. Mr. Terrific just looks like a badass, so I feel like if you don't watch many DC movies or even read some of the comics, this is going to be a pretty good introduction into it, and hopefully it'll lead into it becoming its own universe, kind of like what the MCU is right now, where they can build more movies off of this one movie. Now, obviously, they kind of do need some ground basis to build off of, and I think this could be the starter of it. Now, I don't know if that's what James Gunn really wants to do or what he has planned, or if they want to make this a movie universe like that, or if it's just one spinoff, or they want to keep this one universe and just keep building off of it. But I would really love to see them kind of make a DC version of the MCU. Now, as far as the story goes for this, I feel like it could either be really bad or really good. I feel like it has multiple options, and I hope this movie's like 3 hours long, to be honest, because from the trailer, I just don't know if they're going to have enough time to do everything that I'm hoping. Obviously, Superman gets imprisoned to this movie by Lex Luthor and his militia, and then Lex Luthor and the engineer go up to the Fortress of Solitude and run a fade with the little dog Crypto. Superman breaks out and has to fight like 3 different sets of things. He has to fight the engineer in the stadium. He has to fight the big axolotl looking thing. And probably close to the end, he has to deal with this big massive flower looking creature. I don't know. It's spraying pink I don't know, fucking pollen everywhere. I already have an allergy problem. And the only thing that kind of scares me is, hope it doesn't start with like 30 minutes of setting up the character, 20 minutes of him being locked up, and then an hour of him just stomping through all the different villains that are in the movie after he frees himself, with nothing else other than maybe some things that set up another movie later on. I don't think this will happen, but it does kind of scare me because, again, I know Superman is this all-powerful being, but I would like to see some more substance. Instead of him just being this invincible thing that can just stomp and shit on everything in his path, I want to see some actual story being told, some depth. And the reason I don't think it will be bad is there's a lot in this trailer that kind of tell you how the story's gonna go. First off, Superman is gonna have the sickly stage either before or after being in prison with Mr. Kryptonite Fingers. He's gonna have a recovery period where he's laying in the bed all deathly, and I know that's gonna take some time, at least 5 minutes of addressing. So if it is only 2 hours long, this is going to scare me that they're adding this section in at all because it takes just more away from the action. But at least you do get more time with the character himself. Now, there's also another shot of him suffering through just the most agonizing thing I've ever seen in my life. But you get a glimpse of a shot of him screaming in pain and suffering font. I don't know. It's either by this bright beam of light or God knows what. When you finally see the end of the trailer with just him and his dog, this is how I think the movie is going to end. If somehow maybe Lois Lane or his mom dies, that's going to be kind of collateral damage on top of the fact that he's already lost the Fortress of Solitude. They already broke into it and probably trashed it, so he's lost that. He's lost a fight or a friend during one of the battles. And then if he loses a family member or partner on top of that, I mean, that's going to be a really sad way to end off on, but I think it's really good storytelling because that's always Superman's downfall into some other shit, and it could lead him into some other problem. If his mom's the one to pass, I'd maybe say that Lois leaves him for some reason just to put one little shot in the dark, and then the final shot would match the final shot that's in the trailer where it's just a man and his dog. It would be even worse if the dog gets cooked somehow, and then he's left with the nagging girlfriend and a bunch of stuff to fight, but I'm just spitballing. I don't know. I could go either direction. I just would like to see a lot more than just him just getting a victory off of victory off of victory. Regardless of how this movie goes, I think it'll be really, really good. I know I was kind of just talking out of my ass for a good minute there. I have enough confidence to say that I think this could definitely bring back the whole DC movies kind of era. And something I would love to see some way, if it's possible, is this Superman with Robert Pattinson's Batman, because I love the way the Superman looks. And Robert Pattinson's Batman was probably my favorite Batman in the last, I don't know, million years. I think mixing these two universes would be really hard, damn near impossible even, because obviously Robert Pattinson's Batman is a lot younger. But it could work. Batman's movie's a lot more dark and gritty compared to the bright, contrasted, and high energy of the Superman film. Or at least seems to be, but it's possible. Anyways, I think that's all the yapping I had for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about the trailer itself and how excited you are about the movie. If you have any prediction on how the story could go. And yeah, that's it. Bye.